Welcome to The Performance Show, a videocast interviewing athletes, coaches and sports scientists from around the globe. Please welcome your host, Lachlan Puyol from Puyol Athletic Development and Performance.
Welcome to episode 24 of The Performance Show. Jeff Coetzee from South Africa, former ATP player, joins us. Jeff, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, so you're the director of tennis in South Africa. What does that role kind of entail for you?
I mean, it's and I think in a lot of federations it entails you're overseeing everything in tennis in your country. My side of things is the same thing, but we are very small staff. We're not like Australia that has a staff of 600 and something. We only got like 14, 15 people. So basically, I've got to do that. I've got a high performance guy that also helps me. But you sort of have to play different roles as well. You're the director of tennis in South Africa, but yet you've got to sort of be head of men's tennis. And the thing is, one of the reasons I actually took this job on was last year my guys, Juan, Sebastian, Cabal and Farah had a good run. And there's been a lot of hype in the media and in South Africa, why don't I help South Africans? And, I thought about it and I thought, I do to a certain extent. I'm always willing to help, but how can I do something a little bit more? And when this job sort of came about, I thought, okay, let me try it because it's not a full-time job. It's part-time, but yet it feels like full-time, So I put my hand up and then went for the interview, got it. And I said, sure, let me give it a try. And I do it year by year. And just to see that's on the right track.
Yeah, and as you said, you're coaching.
Hopefully going in the right track.
Yeah, and you're coaching on the ATP Tour with Cabal and Farah. How do you do you balance the two out during the year?
Yeah, look, I mean, this year's obviously, as you know, it's been such a strange year, and I was being able to be home a little bit more. But it's one of those roles that you don't have to be physically on the court. Also, it's just managing. You just got a time management, everything, and the one thing it is, you spend a lot of time on Zoom meetings. So it's and then also staff meetings, and you try and catch up. And so those are more the time consuming. But those things you can do while I'm on tour, maybe depending on the time difference, but somehow you can find time. You just have to balance it. And like I said, time management, and it can be done. You don't have your luxury of free time reading a book that you want, or watching a bunch of series or something. I have to kind of just slow down on certain things and prioritize.
So you've been coaching Cabal and Farah since 2013, and I know they were ranked around 60 at the time. What was the big area of focus that you saw in their game, and how did you what did you sort of implement to make them rise in the rankings?
I've never met them. I saw their names, and then Rob reached out to me that year, 2013. I was still working for the Vasca Academy at the time, but not full time. Again, like part time. And I always told him, the Vasca, if something comes up, like this is what I want, and let's see if it comes. And few things has come up before that, but it just wasn't. I'm a person that likes a challenge, and I thought to myself, these guys are now not top 10. Somebody that asked me like beforehand. I thought, okay, you know what? Let me give it a try. What I've got to lose? I'm going to do 3 weeks pre-season with them, and I do 3 weeks in Australia with them. Let's see what happens. So the first week or so I spent time with them. I actually did all the fitness with them, and I just wanted to see where they are, what they do, what they think, because now you're dealing with a different culture also, and I could see there's definitely potential, but the way they were playing or going on about things was certainly not the way I wanted. And I said to him, look, you guys have certainly got talent. You have the ability to do something great one day, but you have to be able to change a lot of these things. And I kind of pointed out a few things in terms of, let's find out, how do you want to play? You guys are basically now have sort of played doubles the last year or 2, 3 years. You stopped, you played singles, you tried it, but I still see 2 guys playing doubles, but I look at 2 singles players. I said, how do we get connected? What is your strength? What is your weakness? What is Cabal, what is your strength and what is your weakness? How do we get this? How do we sort of combine everything together? And I said, look, it will take time. The way I want you to play, it's going to take time. It's not going to come overnight, but you'll be able to, if you give me the freedom and the trust, then I can show you some of the things, and then it's up to you. I can only do from my part, do so much, but I cannot make you drink. I can take you to the water, but I cannot make you drink. So here's what I have in mind. Let's do this. And then obviously once I started, I saw them play, I could understand why there's a lot of things, what they were saying about, and it made more sense to me. And then I said, all right, now for us to change, this is what I need you to do. You guys are not having an aggressive mindset. I want you to play like this, more up. I said, Rob, you've got such a big wingspan. You've got a huge, your presence is so big there, but you're not utilizing it. You guys make a good return, it gets neutralized, and now you have to grind from the back. I said, it's good, but let's try and do a bit of both. Let's try and make you into hybrids. If you want to serve and volley, you can. If you want to stay back, you can. If you need to do this, you can. So I kind of just showed them the ropes about a little bit of everything. And that's how we just said, I said, okay, well, now that we have an idea what we want to do, now we need to go execute it, and that takes time. And then obviously with them winning matches, and then we started struggling in Grand Slams, and I'm like, but I'm seeing what I saw now, sort of the first time I saw you in a final. Why is it so different than you playing first round in Grand Slam versus, you playing a finals of a 500? It shouldn't be that different, your mindset. So we worked a lot on the mental aspect as well, but I think one of the main things was changing their diets, changing everything, because I didn't get enough what I wanted out of them. I couldn't push them. And when I pushed them the following day, you maybe only get 70% out of them. And I needed to get 100% all the time, all the time, or close to it. So we made a lot of changes.
Now, in 2019, they had probably the best season of their career. They won Rome, they won Barcelona, made the semis of Roland Garros. How did their doubles strategy change going from the clay court season over to the grass? I know in that year they won Eastbourne, then they beat Mahut and Roger Vasselin in 5 sets. How did the strategy sort of change?
Look, I always looked at it. There's not one grass court in Colombia. There's probably only one. I don't know even if there's a hard court there. So that was always their worst slam. And I thought to myself, but yet you guys lose to players that's actually grass court players or on fast surfaces, but you lose not because they beat you. It's because you guys lose because you don't do this or you don't do that. You had the glimpse of chances. I said, that's grass court tennis. You get that little opportunity, and if you don't take it. So, I started implementing different things. I said to them, look, this year we're going to start changing. We're going to start working a little bit more on things throughout the season. So by the time we get to the grass court season, hopefully everything will fall into play. And that's what we did. I started working mainly just on a variety on chip returns, chip lob, just somehow get into the point, because they both are good service. Rob's more probably service, like if you want to take speed. But Cabal is very, very good with changing his pace and placement, where Rob helps him out. And so there's a contra of both things. They complement each other really well. So it's not, if you say, what did I change different from clay to grass? It's little tactical things here and there, but it obviously came months and months ago from little things that I wanted to play. So once we got on the grass, we only started different things. I only wanted them to play up, not even on the first serve, you stay up. On the second serve, you stay up. I say, you got to trust your returns. You got to trust that you hit a good lob off the return. You got to trust that you hit a chip and you close. I said, that is grass court tennis. You have to be able to get into that opponent's faces all the time and make them feel the pressure. You might not break all the time, but the main focus is we're going to start serving a lot more. We're going to do this more. So once you hold serve, you add constantly putting pressure, and over time that will pay off. Scoreboard pressure it's a different thing. You play over time, and hopefully you trust in yourself. And they were match points down at Wimbledon in the quarterfinals, but yet once we got there, we saved that 5 match points against Roger Takao. Those guys did not lose the match points. My guys just came up with big first serves, either an ace or a big first serve and stuff like that. But that's, again, it comes from what we've done over a course of a period, you know, a longer period of time. Even in Wimbledon, every round, I would do individuals with these guys. They would serve a lot. I would make them hit first, second volleys. I would literally take like 50 balls to the wide, 50 balls body, 50 balls this, and then it would chip. I mean, and then the next guy comes and I do the same thing. And then I wonder why after Wimbledon, I was like, just I couldn't even lift up my shoulder. I was so tired. But it was all worth it, because that's the routine they wanted. And you just, if I have to say, last year compared to Australian Open final, I could sense there's something different about them. The Australian Open final, yes, it's the first time for both of them. Cabal did make a final a few years ago with Schwenk from Argentina, but the attitude was different. I mean, I remember after the semi-final, the following day when we practiced, it was just, I had to stop Rob and say, no, it's enough. Trust me, it's enough. We're going to still do it with warm-up. We have the court by ourselves tomorrow. We have enough. Whereas Australia, a little different, a lot of media hype and things, and they were tired, I could say. And I said to them, guys, after the final, it's great and all, but you only get those little chances here and there. You need to be able to execute them. So next time we're in this situation, you gotta prioritize first, practice first, and only a little bit of media. Then afterwards, then you want it, no problem. You can do all you want. You do what's required, but don't spend so much energy and things, and then you're tired for the practice for a final the next day. So it's all new territory and stuff. So, you know, as you go along, you learn. Certain people do it better than others, you know, and sometimes people do too much. And sometimes you just got to be, you hear about, you got to work harder. Yeah, you do, but you got to work smart. You know, it's not about how hard you work. It's always about, at that level, it's how smart you work.
And of course, you have a day off during a Grand Slam. If you win, you get a day off for the next match. Now, in the 48 hours after their semi-final win at Wimbledon, what did the preparation look like for that final?
After the semis, I mean, it wasn't that late. They liked the routine. We hired a house, and I used to do a barbecue pretty much, or cook and stuff, and they would get treated. It was a whole family affair, and we would play games in the evening. They were very relaxed, I must say. That 2-3, it was very chilled. It was like you were at home now, you're just going to go practice. It was a very relaxed, and that's what I tried to create also, to make them sure the physio would treat them and stuff. By the time they get finished, food is ready. They didn't have to go, okay, let's go to a restaurant. Oh, okay, let's cook or something. I sort of tried whatever I could to take a lot out of them. My wife and daughter was there the first week as well, and we helped. You know, we played games. We made it so easy for them. So once my wife and them left, I tried to kind of keep the same way. So after that semifinals, it became so easier because they were just nice in a routine. And we just kept the same routine and the same thing. Okay, what time do we practice? Okay, let's, what time's first of all, we found out what time the finals, let's do a closer to that. You know, you work on these things. Obviously, you know that already because it's set already what sort of you don't know how long the finals was after the women's, because that was actually quite a quick finals, but you have an idea sort of roughly what time you want to play. So that's, you know, you finish late the semis. So basically you don't practice the next day 10 o'clock. So we practice later that the next day. So it gives us enough time. And then obviously you still have the following day recover the morning. So there was enough time to recover. And I mean, as a coach, it just pleases me so much. After, I think it was like 4 hours, 2 sets all, the roof gets closed. I got at least 10 minutes with my guys. And the first thing Rob tells me is, Jeff, I don't want this to end. I want to play. I'm so looking forward to getting out there. You know, after 4 hours, what tactics do you really give them? Everybody knows. I mean, if you don't know what your opponent is doing after 4 hours, then, you know, I'm not going to do that. So basically, I said to him, I'm not here to give you guys tactics. I'm just here to say you're on the right track. The only reason we're here is because we should have won in 4. but at this point, not aggressive enough. Watch out for this one. Keep playing this game style. Keep being aggressive. Your chances will come. You just have to trust it. Focus on the serve, on the returns. The only way is to be aggressive. There's no chance. I'd rather you come after me and say, Jeff, geez, these guys came up with unbelievable. That's what I want to hear. And that's what they did. You know, they got a break up and sort of a little bit lost it, but then they got it back again. And I mean, it was just nice to be part of it. I mean, it's you as the coach get some credit, but I mean, the physio, Jason from Australia, he was there. Jeffrey, their fitness trainer, their families, everybody. It's not one person. You know, it's not just me. It's what they've been through as a junior, how leading up to that. It takes a whole, you know, sometimes we all get credit because you're there, but it takes a long period. It's from whoever introduced them to tennis. You know, everybody has a say in that. And that's what's so nice about it. You know, it comes from your coach under 10, you're this. Everybody has a little process, a pathway they go through, and we all in it together.
Yeah. Did you ever work with either Robert or Juan Sebastian one-on-one, or was it more, you work with them always together?
No, in the beginning it was all together, but the last 3 years they like individuals a lot now. It's tough on me. I'm not young. I'm getting older, but I try to be in shape. And sometimes we do it, obviously, when we play practice matches. But Rob likes to do it a little bit more. Cabal doesn't like to play as many practice matches. He just wants me to work on him, certain things altogether. But I actually enjoy the time because, again, you have to see where they are. They've done a lot of work to be from 60-something to where they were. So now it's almost the fine-tuning things. Instead of having 2 hours, I use an hour with them each. So I do the 2 hours. The coach does the 2 hours. They do the hour. So, but when we do an hour, literally there's almost no drink break. It's just like a little sip, but they know for an hour, it's just non-stop. You know, we've had a few times where the physio is actually giving them just the water, and I don't make them sit down even, for example. It just depends where we are, how many, but also you got to listen to them. I always like, you as a coach has something in mind. They wake up the next day, you don't know. You know, you as a coach sitting outside, coaches, they never lose matches from sitting outside. They always see the good things. They don't see what's happening on court, the nerves. We always like, yeah, how, but why did you not do this? Why did you, you know, and obviously I've played at that level and I know what it takes. I have certain things that I picked up in a match. Now you want to do it the next day, but you have to communicate with your player. You got to see when they are in the gym. You got to see their body language. You got to see what they come up with. So maybe you just have to adjust a little bit. You know, I think that's also very important, and to relate to them. Give me a scale 1 to 10 or this, or sometimes, like I said, over 6 years, you get to know your players. So then you can say, no, I feel like just give me another 10 minutes. We don't have to do the full hour. I push. And then something, that's it. You know, again, we talk about smart quality work, and that's what we sometimes I sometimes look at, because they've done the work, you know, done even leading up to that. So during a tournament, you're just basically doing the basic stuff.
And 2020 with COVID hitting, I'm sure that would have made the whole season rocky for every player out there. Going into 2021, what does the preseason look like going into the Australian Open?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're waiting now for finalization on what's exactly happening. We have an idea that we have to be there the 15th or the 16th of Jan. The nice thing about this part, even with COVID, I get to spend them 2 weeks with them. Normally, I give them the programs. I get in touch with them. You know, with the time change, when I go to bed, I can see their videos, what they've done, or the next day, if they practice later, I always give them a program what to do, because I said, you know, I don't have to spend every preseason with you. I know you guys so well. This is what you need to focus on. And the other thing is, now I get to spend 2 weeks with them, you know, in Melbourne. So, you know, in quarantine, we're in a bubble. So that's why Rob was saying, Jeff, you better get yourself in good shape, because you're going to hit a lot, because we're not allowed to hit, you know, they're going to be very strict in the bubble. So hopefully by after a week or so, we'll get to practice with some other guys. But the first week or so, that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. You're try and restrict us as much as they can. So I know I'm going to have to hit. So I'm going to have to, you know, keep myself not having too much dessert.
And you were obviously you played on the tour. You reached a high of 12 in the world in doubles, if I'm correct. You played 17 Davis Cup ties for South Africa. I know you represented South Africa in the Olympics as well. You grew up in a system in South Africa where they still had the apartheid, which finished essentially mid 90s. How was that for you growing up as a junior athlete?
I think it's very difficult, and I got bits of it. If I listen to my brothers, older brothers, my family, what they went through during apartheid, it's a little different. You know, as a kid, when you grow up, all you want to do is a certain sport. You want to either as a racket, a soccer ball, or something. You just want to play. You don't see color. All you want to do is you just want to have fun and you want to play. Unfortunately, you know, I grew up in that era. I wasn't allowed to play for the first few years. I didn't understand why. But hey, you know, now that I know, if I listen to my daughter, she does. It's so different. You know, times has changed so much. But I think those little obstacles has made me tough, and I can sort of relate that and sort of try and tell my guys, you know, how did you grow up? We talk about this often and say like, Jeff, that's unbelievable. And they're such nice guys. They don't see this, like, don't understand how. And they've been to South Africa, you know, in 2014, and then like, they just don't get it. But it was difficult, yes. Like I said, I don't know the full amount of it as a junior, that grasping it that time. I was like, okay, we can't play, or maybe there's something we never really asked about it. Why? I was like, just okay. And first time I got the opportunity to play, I mean, I come from a town that's literally 5,000 people. Nothing. I play barefoot. I didn't even have shoes until 12. I hated playing with shoes. We grew up with playing barefoot. That's how we grew up, in gravel. You know, I made my own tennis court in the backyard with with an orange net, 2 poles, and a wooden racket. That's how I started. And then 3 years later, got to play the tournaments after I was told not to play, and then lost to this kid that was one in the province and then one in the country. But I was like, so my brother, she's like, no, this is now not nice. I don't like losing to this kid. Just because I was competitive, I'm the youngest, and I always lost to my brothers. So I always hated it. You know, we used to do those little things about playing Australian Open, French Open. We choose a player who we like, and now I'm here and we play for 2-liter Coke or something. And I always used to lose. So I used to hate it. I was so competitive, and I just wanted to get back. And then I said to my brother, you know what? He said, you see, you lose in the semis. This guy's won in the country. You lost 4-3. How about practicing every day and see for the next few months and see what you can do? Because I love playing soccer. I only practice like 2 or 3 times a week, but I wasn't taking it serious. And once I said, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Every day I practice. My goal was there. Boom. I mean, long story short, I won the tournament. I beat the same guy like 1-0, and just like it just went from there. And I never really looked back. But you know, there was a lot of things in that era, that apartheid era, which I don't get, you know, and I will never will, because you're not born with it. You know, it's a choice you make. You know, no one is born to say you hate that person or why is this different color. You know, you're not born with that. And that's why it's a life lesson, you know, that I take with me all the time, that when I'm on a tennis court, it's a safe haven for me. It's like you're in a happy place, you know, you're happy with your family. But when you go work, it's completely, I don't see it as work though. You know, I'm probably like, my wife always says, I'm very lucky because I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
With, you know, and I don't, honestly, I don't see it as work. Yeah, there's days when you're a lot on the court, you spend hours. We don't have an 8-to-5 job. It can be so long. But I honestly love what I'm doing, and I don't see the color in it. I just see whoever I coach, whoever I'm there, I just want to get that person across from me as best and better as I can in whatever I can. If I can contribute in putting a smile on somebody else's face, I'm happy. If I can contribute on something, helping, giving the coach a tip to tell that person, I'm happy. I love helping people.
That's what it's about. And I think, you know, with the apartheid in South Africa and racism, that's that's been present all around the world, and it is still, today. I think there's so much ignorance that goes on, and when there's ignorance, it breeds hatred into people just by the way that they look.
Yeah.
And it's such good insight, Jeff. Thanks so much for giving up your time and coming on the show.
No problem at all. Yeah, thanks for having me.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.